morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at the bad Pokemon cards. We're usually so optimistic, so happy, so cheery, it's kind of my thing. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do that thing where we look at bad cards, and we're going to say cards are bad, and we're going to say mean things about them, or at least we're going to talk about the fact that these cards are, shall we say, not necessarily needed. We don't do this very often. We're usually a bit cheerier, but I think today, for these cards especially, I think it is absolutely warranted. So let's start off having a look at Dedenne. Now, Dedenne comes here with 70 HP, and 70 HP is good. I mean, things like Salamence at the moment do 30 damage to each Pokemon, so I do like the fact that you can come in here, 70 HP, 2 hits from Salamence won't quite get the KO, though do remember that Salamence V Max will then do 40 damage to 2 Pokemon, so it's not perfect, shall we say, ladies and gentlemen. But hey-ho. You got a retreat cost of 1, which I suppose is low enough to use U-turn board. You got a weakness to metal, being a fairy type, which, again, is fine. I mean, it's psychic fairy, if that makes sense. It is the first time we've ever seen a psychic Dedenne, incidentally. And we're going to see more and more of this. Pokemon that are making their debut as psychic types, because they've only been fairy in the past. So I suppose, I mean, Dedenne's also been lightning, obviously. But it's just, yeah. I mean, to be fair, psychic Pokemon have lost a lot of their tricks like Spell Tag and Mysterious Treasure, which does not go in favour of this. And yet, when we actually get round to looking at what it does, 1 energy, 10 damage, plus Confusion. Now, Confusion itself is actually kind of useful, because your opponent has to flip a coin if they want to attack, and if they flip tails, the attack fails, and that's quite nice in that regard, I suppose. Confusion can win games. It can absolutely wreck your opponent. Confusion can be that thing that turns a loss into a win. It can buy you a turn. Your opponent takes 3 damage counters when they flip tails on Confusion, so that can mean that they end up just not actually, it's not more than just not attacking, they're not attacking and they're taking damage, which could be the difference. But then after all of that, it's 10 damage plus Confusion on a 70 HP Pokemon. I mean, we could compare this to Xurkitree, for instance, and Xurkitree, which came out of Forbidden Light, which was a while ago now, we're talking 1 energy, 20 damage plus Confusion on a 120 HP Pokemon. So it's kind of hard to recommend this, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen. It really is kind of hard to recommend it. I'm not saying it's out and out embarrassing, but I am saying it's not going to be good. I mean, in a pre-release, right? 10 damage plus Confusion, buy a turn, I can get behind it. It is the kind of card that in a pre-release could actually put in a little bit of work. But as soon as you get out of a pre-release into the real world, by which I mean bigger tournaments, I just don't think there's any real reason whatsoever to actually want to play this card. I'm sorry if that sounds mean. But moving on then, we can have a little bit of a look at Lycanroc. And the thing with Lycanroc, right, it's a fighting Pokemon. And right now, we want fighting Pokemon. Dedenne is the best support Pokemon now, weak to fighting. The challenger to that throne is going to be the new Crobat, weak to fighting. One of the best decks now, and looking like it's going forward, is Pikachu and Zekrom, weak to fighting. We're going to have Vikavolt as one of the best decks, maybe the best deck soon, weak to fighting. And another one of the best decks is going to be Eternatus, weak to fighting. Fighting weakness is going to be the best weakness to hit. Lycanroc's a fighting Pokemon, so straight off the bat, we're on its side. Now, the retreat cost of 2 does mean you can get free retreat. You have to use Air Balloon, but you can do it, so that's alright. Weakness to Grass is honestly fine, because no one's really playing Grass right now. And being a fighting Pokemon is awesome for the weakness, but you can do extra damage with Martial Arts Dojo, and you can reduce your attack cost if you're behind on prizes with Karate Belt. There is actually so much to love here, until we get to the attacks. And as soon as we get to the attacks, we get pretty gosh darn sad. First attack, 1 fighting energy, 40 damage. No. I mean, it's not even enough to KO a Cinccino, for goodness sake. Cinccino's rocking 90 HP. This comes in hitting 40, double with weakness is 80. You're still not getting a KO. Sure, if you're behind on prizes, you can use Martial Arts Dojo. That'll be 80. That's a one-hit KO on Dedenne. And then if you add a Vitality Band, that's 90. And that's a one-hit KO on Crobat. At which point, a lot of you are probably going, well, hang on a second, Wassy. I mean, you've just said that this card isn't any good, and yet you've just pointed out how you can KO widely played Pokemon for 2 prizes. What's going on? And what's going on is that this is not good compared to other cards. I mean, the example we've got at the moment for fighting is Excadrill. Excadrill for a single energy on a stage 1 does 120 damage. And fine, you've got to discard the top 4 cards of your deck. But that will get a one-hit KO on Pikachu and Zekrom. And it will get a one-hit KO on Eternatus V. And if you've got a Martial Arts Dojo and you're behind on prizes, and you've got a Vitality Band, then all of a sudden you're up to 170, and now you're getting a one-hit KO on Eternatus V Max. It also gets a natural one-hit KO on Vikavolt. Oh no, I've got to discard the top 4 cards of my deck. But then I'm basically getting a one-hit KO on anything relevant. You've got to be behind on prizes and have a Martial Arts Dojo just in order to get those KOs on the supporting Pokemon. And as for the second attack, 2 energy, 70 damage. I mean, if 1 energy, 40 wasn't good enough, doubling the energy but not doubling the damage probably isn't going to endear me very much at all. It's just... And the thing is, it's not even 80 damage, right? 80 damage would at least get a Dedenne. 90 damage would at least get a Crobat. 70 damage gets neither of them. And I know we can make it work. Martial Arts Dojo or Vitality Band, boom, down goes Dedenne. Both of them, boom, down goes Crobat. You're behind on prizes with a Martial Arts Dojo, boom, down goes Vikavolt. And then out of Vitality Band, yay, down goes Pikachu and Zekrom. But you're having to work so much harder than you have to. Being a fighting Pokemon is awesome right now. You're hitting so many good weaknesses. But the fact of the matter is, there are better, and I mean way better fighting Pokemon out there. Phoenix would be another example. It's not colourless energy, so you can't just use it regardless of what deck you're in. You've got to be playing fighting energy. And that means that we can just do so much better. These are Pokemon cards that I just cannot recommend. And even in the video of Pokemon cards that I cannot recommend, I think this might be the worst of them. And that's kind of saying something. But we're going to finish off today having a little bit of a chat. Get it? Oh, you might in a second. About Chatot. Yeah, that's right. I totally went there. 70 HP is low, like we said. Retreat cost of 1 is quite nice. To be fair, resistance to fighting is nice because resistance to anything is quite nice. And the weakness to lightning is a lot better since Electro Power ran away. But then again, any lightning Pokemon that can do a natural 40 damage will get a KO. So it's not exactly something we should be terribly excited about. As for the attacks here, I mean, it's got a non-vanilla attack. Maybe it's good. It's not. Search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. That's right, they go into your hand. Now, what we really want here is something like Volcanion. The Volcanion from Unbroken Bond searches for 1 energy and attaches it, which is better than searching for 2 and not attaching. Or, if you go second on your first turn, you can search for 3 energy and attach them. Attacks that attach energy have been good for a long time. Think things like Eviltal, things like Volcanion, etc. This, on the other hand, just literally searches out energy. If you do this, your opponent can just use a Marnie or Reset stamp to shuffle them back into your deck anyway. And okay, I mean, there is a situation here where you search for 2 fire energy and then you drop them with a welder and yay, you're off and rolling. But there are so many better Pokemon that we can put out turn 1. If you're in a fire deck, using this over Volcanion would be frankly a little bit silly. and that's to put it mildly. And even in other decks, there are just better Pokemon we can use to get set up in the early game. If you're playing a Metal deck, Duraludon does 30 damage and attaches an energy from your discard pile. That is one of many examples, and don't even get me started on the 2 energy 20 damage. I've just been, let's say, not fan of 1 energy 40 damage when you are hitting for weakness, although that was on a stage 1. Even on a basic 2 energy, 20 damage on a colourless Pokemon that's never hitting for weakness, this is not something we're ever going to get excited about. These are not good, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, these cards. They are not good. But we need to mention everything. We need to go through every card. That's kind of my deal. And now we have, even if we finished off with some cards that are, to put it mildly, less than inspiring. So they're the new cards, ladies and gentlemen, and they're the ones you shouldn't be terribly worried about. But I'd like to know if you think I've made a mistake, or indeed whether you agree with me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.